Dr. Kathy Bush.
And hello, I'm Dr. Tara Peters, and we are the Leadership Doctors. And today we have Jenny Hoyle with us, and we're so excited to talk with her. She's an alumni from Northwood University's MBA program, and that's how Kathy and I came to know Jenny. She's also the president and CEO for Isabella Community Credit Union, and so she has a wealth of leadership experience, and really thought that during this time, it would be great to hear from Jenny and to have her perspective. So Jenny, welcome to Lessons from Leaders.
Oh, well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're glad and excited to have you with us and really looking forward to the conversation. So we think it'd be a really good place to start in terms of you sharing with us your leadership journey and then giving us insight in terms of your current role.
I'd be happy to. Yes. So my journey, like many people, is not a straight line. There were many twists and turns along the way. So I actually went to school to study German and biology to be a secondary ed teacher. And while I was in college, I began working at a credit union. And so I worked at a credit union in my hometown on all my summer breaks and spring vacations and Christmas vacations and things like that. And then I began work at the credit union where I still am today, Isabella Community, while I was finishing up college at Central Michigan University, fire up chips. And I was beginning as a teller, and this was just going to be my job till I graduated and got a real job. And so I began here as a teller. And I've held many roles here throughout the years. I was a loan officer for a lot of years, and then I worked as the marketing director, managed a branch office at the same time, and then I began to oversee branch operations and security in our facilities and all of that. And so then I became the chief operations officer and overseeing all of our branches and all of our frontline service and all of our marketing and business development opportunities. And then here last January, when one of my mentors and my predecessor retired after 17 years here at the credit union, then I moved into his role as the CEO. So it's been a fun journey, and I'm privileged to work in a wonderful industry where there's a lot of collaboration and cooperation, and you don't see that in a lot of industries. So I really enjoy working in a credit union.
What a cool journey. And, it's interesting as I think about the different people who might be watching this, who are in different places in their career, some early in their career, you go down one path and you think this is going to be the right path, but you're also paying attention to, wow, this feels like a good fit. That sounds like your story, right? And because this feels like a good fit, I'm going to invest heavily in this. And then the growth opportunities came from that. And so congratulations then. It seems like it's a relatively recent appointment into this role.
It is, thank you. Yeah, I actually credit a lot of my success in my career to just being one of those people that takes initiative. And when you see a need and something that needs to be done and filled, using some creativity and ingenuity and a little bit of elbow grease, hard work, to figure out how to help make it happen for the organization. And I think that's why I've been able to learn as much as I've been able to learn to be of value to the organization I work for, and also why I've been able to be upwardly mobile in those efforts. Yes.
These are great lessons. Some of these things we figure out as we go along, but it's great to hear from somebody who's had that perspective and has seen that pay off. So thank you for sharing that. So as we think about what's going on right now, and the folks watching this get a chance to kind of look at the industry that you're in, sort of the retail side, banking and credit union aspect of that, it'll be interesting for them to hear what it looks like for your business during this pandemic. And you're in Michigan, and so what's going on in terms of what work life looks like, and of course serving your customers as effectively and safely as possible. So can you give us a little bit of a overview of what's going on for you during this pandemic period?
Well, certainly we've had to revise all of our service delivery channels to a degree. It's been a time of really fast-paced change and information gathering, and it's like drinking water from a fire hose, especially initially. New regulations coming down, new rules coming out, things you need to comply with, and then obviously you're doing that all around, wanting to make sure you're taking the best care possible of your team and your members that you serve. And so we've really had to revolutionize our delivery channels Our lobbies are closed. We're doing things we wouldn't normally do through the drive-through. We have to be aware of all of the social distancing guidelines and all the sanitization that needs to happen to disinfecting. And so our drive-through employees are sanitizing our drive-through tubes between every member, and they're going outside on a regular schedule to wipe down the equipment from the members' side that they drive up to. We've had to, one of the key things for us, we've had to push forward our timetable on some projects we already had on our radar. Normally we like to introduce change at a measured pace for our team and for our membership, so everyone can acclimate all at once together. But we've had to push some things forward because they can no longer come in the lobby to do things by hard copy paper transaction. And in the midst of all of this, we've had to we're having a mortgage boom because interest rates are extremely low, but we can't have appraisers going into a house right now. So there's all kinds of things where we've had to adjust how we deliver it. And I'm happy to say we're having we had a record month in April for mortgage loan originations. And we did that all in and around this and writing modifications. We're doing all kinds of modifications for our members to help them through, because in Michigan and like other places in the country, so many people are out of work right now due to the, shelter at home measures that are in place. So we have a stay at home, stay safe order in place, and a lot of people aren't working. If they're not an essential employee, their businesses are closed. And so we've written all kinds of loan modifications to set aside payments for a future date, whether it be a mortgage or a car loan, or on our Visa cards, we just did it right across the board for April and May. Anybody that has a Visa doesn't have to make a payment unless they want to. So things like that, we're doing all kinds of things. We developed a new COVID relief loan program for people whose income was impacted and they needed maybe extra funds to help them through, or it was taking them a while to get in their unemployment going because, well, resources were so overloaded. We had a challenge when the economic impact payments came out because so many people were on our online banking system, it couldn't handle it a little bit. So we had to work on that. So there's been all kinds of challenges with it, but I'm really happy to say our team has really stepped up to the plate and done amazing things for our membership. And of course, educating our members and communicating with the members during all this time has been so important. And our members and our staff have been really doing a wonderful job adjusting to the new normal, I guess. Yeah.
As you were talking, Jenny, I was thinking about, you were talking about the need to, to scale your change and how you've had to adapt, how that's taking place. And so it's changed for your members, it's changed for your employees, but also just talking about how you've had to be nuanced and able to problem solve and to be creative in the moment in order to get to a resolution that was going to benefit all the people that you were trying to serve and to take care of. And so I can imagine that there's some leadership principles that have been guiding that kind of engagement and interaction that's been taking place. And so I think it would be really helpful to our audience for you to give us perspective on what are those leadership principles or those values that have been at the center of how you've been making decisions and interacting with your staff during this time.
Yes, thank you, Tara. Yeah, definitely there are leadership principles that are timeless, and no matter what situation you're in, different ones may come to the fore at different times, but they're important. And so I would say a few of the ones for us, definitely collaboration, teamwork, mutual respect, clear communication with well-defined expectations has been critically important. And then you mentioned creativity and creative problem solving. I'm a big believer in autonomy and creativity, and I put many messages out to our management team and even our staff too in regard to being creative. Listen, this is going to be a time we're going to be faced with things we have to do in new ways, and we'll think of as much as we can to give you guidelines to work from and methodologies you can utilize, but there are going to be those one-off situations that come up as you're taking care of a member, and we need to do something differently to meet that member's need. And so I encourage you to be creative. I encourage you to collaborate with one another. Just involve your supervisor in your creativity to make sure we're still in compliance with regulations and we're still, doing what we need to do from a risk perspective, because unfortunately during this time also, fraudsters, I saw a statistic the other day on phishing emails and how many more of them there are right now because of COVID. So those are also things we still have to be aware of, unfortunately. But yeah, so those have been huge. I've found we've had to up our level of communication with the staff, with the membership, communicating more frequently. And I found that we have to be excessively clear in the way we say things, and so we've really taken a lot of extra care with that right now too, and giving them some bullet points. I mean, we have a brochure, for example, that we've come out with that says, I need to, here's how, so that the member can look at that real quick and say, okay, I need a payment deferral, here's exactly how I go to get that. Or, you know, I need to deposit a check, here's how I can do that. Just to make it really super simple and easy for people. And so video, like this video interview I'm doing with you, isn't something I normally do a lot of, but because we can't have staff meetings right now to explain or to teach, I've sat in my office by myself and did little video recordings for the team that I'd send out and say, hey, it's Friday morning, listen, congratulations, we've made it to day 15 or whatever it is of our new normal, or of our new modified service channels. And we've had to find just different ways to collaborate as a team using technology, a lot of teleconferencing and things like that. So our methodologies have changed in the way we do it, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's collaboration, it's teamwork, you know, it's showing mutual respect and care for one another and supporting one another when they need help.
Jenny, I hear so much in that answer and what you've been talking about so far that it tells me, first of all, that it seems like a great place to work. And secondly, you have a lot of things that you're doing that kind of come under the umbrella of engaging your employees. And I hope that you're seeing the results of that. You know that Tara and I wrote a book called The Demotivated Employee, and I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people in your life, as we have, that notice somebody who's really motivated, and then they start to see their motivation dipping, may or may not know what to do about it. And so that's the purpose of our book. And we're pretty sure that, you know, this happens naturally. Of course, Gallup says that 70% of people are demotivated, which is a really tragic data point. And of course, it varies in different places, but whatever the number is in your organization, are you worried about the motivation and doing things in particular to help those motivated people from losing motivation during this kind of scary time?
Well, I certainly think it's something you need to be aware of at all times, but because this is an extra stressful situation, I think you need to be extra observant about that. And I found that, you know, people are complex and they have needs that are different than just what has to happen in the workplace. And so I think you need to show you care about your employees and you're interested in their overall well-being, not only their well-being as an employee. If you can address sometimes some of those fears that they may have and set them to rest, whether it may be having an employee move to a different spot or be able to work at home or whatever it is, to be able to allow that to happen, that really helps, so they can, you get rid of those productivity stealers. But I think it's really important that everybody wants to be seen. So I think it's important that you see people, that when they're doing something good, that you express gratitude. When we have frontline employees having to do all these extra disinfecting things, or we have our mortgage department working overtime right now because we have such high demand, or we have our consumer loan department who's working on a new deployment of an entirely new consumer lending system we were in the middle of when this broke out, and still in and around that having to help all these members with payment deferrals and things like that. So you got to notice when they're going the extra mile and show appreciation, show thank you. I think it's extremely important for our team to understand the meaning behind the work they do, so that they can see the members on the other end of those transactions and understand how that work is meaningful and how they're making a difference. And I think that is so important that's something you can get behind and be passionate about. It's so important to being an engaged employee, is just to understand that together we're making a difference. Together we're doing something that's meaningful in the lives of our members. And so if you do a good job on your hiring process and you're hiring the people that fit that profile of where they're a helpful person. And, in the credit union world, we're looking for somebody that's helpful, that's people oriented, because at the end of the day, we're a people business. Yes, we do need to understand some technical things, but we're a people business. And so if you do that in your hiring process, and then you help share throughout your work life, where they can see how what they're doing every day, even though it may seem like a technical piece of the puzzle, how that is helping or impacting the member or helping their teammate on the other end, I think that goes a long way for engagement and motivation. And so throughout this thing, we've really been promoting that we're stronger together. Together, we're going to get through this. And I've been using the hashtag stronger together at the bottom of every email I send out. And our marketing team has been doing the same stronger together message with our membership. And just doing that. And then, of course, just injecting a little fun where you can to alleviate some of the stress. We had a pajama day, so everyone, I got a little flack for this on LinkedIn, but so everyone could dress like a remote worker for that day, whether it was a remote worker or not. And we had, we had breakfast food for lunch, and people could wear their slippers and things like that. And so it was a fun day, and everybody enjoyed it. And it was just kind of a nice little refreshing stress reliever to help everybody get through. Yeah.
Jenny, I love that story. I love the idea of the pajamas, and I love the idea of, paying attention to your employees and recognizing that this is a stressful time, but interjecting some fun and some levity and a chance just to have a little bit of a break, if you will, from all of the demands of the work and what's going on. And I think that that's so important, that leaders are paying attention, and that people know that you see them. And how much value they take from that, and how much benefit that is, to the organization. So we have folks who are watching today who are in varying stages, as we know, of their career journey. And you've had a powerful journey that you shared with us at the beginning. And it's evident that you've invested in yourself for your personal growth and development. And so we'd love for our audience to hear from you. What are the kinds of things that you would say to them? Here's something that I think that you should think about, or something you should be doing in order to grow yourself and to develop, so that you can prepare yourself to be successful in a leadership role.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in ongoing personal and professional development. So I am committed to being a lifelong learner. And my mom is a lifelong learner, started taking up guitar at age 80. So I have had a good example in that area in my life. But if you become stagnant, you stop growing, you start to become irrelevant, because the world does not stand still. And our industries, whether it be business or healthcare or whatever you're in, does not stand still. And if you're not going to be a continual learner, you're going to fall behind, and you're not going to be able to compete any longer, and you'll lose your effectiveness. So I believe that readers are leaders. And so I'm a big believer in reading books or listening to books that are around the types of things you want to be better at. So I've listened to a lot of leadership books, or read a lot of leadership books in my life, things like John Maxwell. I like his five levels of leadership, but I've read several of his books, but that's probably my favorite. A friend of mine, Neen James, has a book out called Attention Pays, or Stacy Honke, she has one on influence defined, and those are important. And then there's, there's some good, just old time folks, Peter Drucker and Stephen Covey and Dale Carnegie, that have some fabulous things that you can learn. The one I'm reading right now is called Extreme Ownership: How Navy SEALs Lead and Win. And I'm attracted to that one because of the teamwork aspect. They always everyone talks about the SEALs as the teams, and everything's about teamwork. And I think that's so important. So yeah, definitely reading about the things you want to be better at. And then don't be afraid to go back to school. I went back to school at 50 to get my MBA. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to be prepared and ready to do a good job for our membership in this role as the CEO of the credit union. And to give our board no reason to tell me I wasn't the best person for the job. And also, I did the Credit Union National Association's CUNA Management School. And I learned so much. Those two things were probably the best professional development things I've done in my career. Learned so much about myself and about the credit union industry and the pieces I may not have had a hand in yet at that time. So I had done that several years ago. And then I would say it's so important to develop a network of people. And you'll have, your network should include people that are further along than you are in their careers, so you can listen and learn from them. And then it should include people that aren't as far in their careers as you are, and you will have the opportunity to invest in them, but also learn from them. I find some of the people that I mentor help me learn because they grew up with a cell phone in their hand. I didn't. And so I have some things I can learn from them, and they have some things they can learn from me. And you know, I know this isn't a religious show, but the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. That's a principle I believe that I live by in my career because it makes us all sharper. You know, when we rub up against each other, we get those rough edges off and we become sharper. And so we're more effective as a tool for our organizations, for our families, whatever it may be. So, and then I guess the last thing I would say to somebody out there wanting to progress in their career is to get outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to do something new. Don't be afraid to step out and do something you've never done before, because that's where growth happens. You don't generally grow in the comfort zone, but when you get outside of the comfort zone and you challenge yourself, that's often where growth takes place.
Great advice, Jenny. So many things to think about. And as I was listening to the various things that you described, I was actually thinking about the number of people I know who want something, but will tell me how busy they are. And so certainly I'm betting you've been a busy lady, but you've made some choices about how you're spending your time, your discretionary time, to the extent that you could in developing yourself. And so I mean, I hear that in what you're saying. I'm guessing that's true, and I appreciate so much the full range of ideas and insights that you've provided for our audience today, Jenny. And it makes me happy. I see your little fire up chips. I'm also a CMU alum, so that's my diploma, but I don't know that you can actually see it, but I'm repping CMU as well. So it makes me happy to see that. So thank you, Jenny, so much.
It's been my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed the conversation. I always love talking leadership with other folks who enjoy it. So thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So for those of you who have been listening and have been inspired by any of the ideas presented by Jenny, I hope that you will head to our website where we have lessons from leaders. This will be posted as well as other lessons from leaders from different interviews that we've conducted, and you can subscribe on our blog page so that you can continue to stay up to date as we continue to add more. So the website is theleadershipdoctors.com. Thank you.